Good morning, and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I'm Razzle, and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Go ahead and take a look at some pitching for today, the 28th of September. It is Sunday. It is the last day of the regular season. We do have a whole bunch of question marks to go with that, being that it is the last day, and we have very few games that mean anything at all. But we're going to take a look at them and try to get an idea of where to go or what to even dig into further. Reminder that this is a first look at the pitching options on the slate, and I will be looking at DraftKings as that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play in FanDuel, I would cut my pool in half or so. Pricing isn't quite as tight. You don't have to be as creative. It allows you to get stacks you want with an upper tier-ish pitcher. Now with all that said and done, I almost think smaller mini stacks are the way to go today. If you're not stacking some of the teams in important games, and there's only a few teams, to be honest. Yankees need to win the division so they don't get the 4 seed. Toronto needs to win. They have the tiebreaker over the Yankees. The Mets and Reds, I believe, are battling yet for the final wild card spot in the National League. They're in virtual tie, but the Reds do have the tiebreaker there. And then the AL Central Division, it's still up for grabs, but I'm not sure how Detroit and Cleveland are going to necessarily treat their games. Just because each team they're basically playing each other in round one, in the wild card round anyway, so it's just a matter of winning home field in that matchup. So, but aside from that, let's try to take a look at each game just with a little synopsis. It is a 15-game slate, so every team is starting basically within 5 minutes of each other, or maybe 10. I have to look. 15 minutes, sorry. I was totally off there. But let's try to take a look. Going into postseason, I will have videos out for the postseason as well. I really look forward to postseason matchups and really digging in to the back and forth, getting an idea of what pitchers are going to try to do in matchups and all of that. But starting with KC and the A's. Noon start time in Sacramento. A little earlier than they normally start, but Cole Reagans, there's plenty of K upside in the matchup for him. He looked good last time out, but obviously, he's not going 100 pitches. He's probably only going to throw in the 70s again. He's dealt with injuries this year. I think his ceiling is 80 pitches. But as I'm going to talk about with a lot of these guys could be pulled out earlier. We just don't really know unless they come out and announce, hey, our starter's only going to throw 3 innings or something. Guys are looking forward to the offseason. It's been a long grind for them. But also, stats matter. That's how they get paid. So, picking up wins still means something to starting pitchers. So, Brady Basso, not really interested. It's pretty much going to be a full bullpen game for the A's by the looks of things. But Reagans probably in play just because he might have one of the higher upsides on the slate if things go correctly. A lot of this might change a little bit once we see lineups as well. Not that teams can get super weak offensively because you can only sit so many guys. Rosters aren't that expanded, but some of the weaker lineups are going to show up today with guys already going into off-season mode. White Sox, Nationals. Shane Smith has had a pretty strong rookie year, coming off of a decent start even against the Yankees. I think he's viable. I'm not sure that the White Sox have done much to limit their starting pitchers to end the season, so I think Shane Smith is definitely viable. Brad Lord just doesn't feel like somebody I'm all that interested in at this point, taking on the White Sox. Detroit, Boston. The game matters for Detroit to a degree. Matters at nothing at all for Boston. We saw Boston sit some of the regulars yesterday. I would guess that Giolito does not approach 100 pitches. In fact, I could see him only throwing 1 or 2 innings, basically as a bullpen session, so that he is ready to go this week. The wildcard round is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I would assume Giolito is one of the starters in that series. Crochet definitely going to start game 1. Bayo maybe game 2, and then maybe Lucas Giolito for game 3. So with that, I just don't expect him to go more than 1 or 2 innings. On the other side, Chris Paddock, 9 days ago started, looked all right. If we see a weakened Boston lineup, maybe Paddock becomes viable just because he's a pitcher that's pitching for something for Detroit. Obviously, if they catch wind of like Cleveland blowing somebody or blowing Texas out or getting killed, that might change how they approach things. But even then, I could still also see Paddock only going 3 to 4 innings, and they turn it over to a bullpen guy at a time to go an inning. Orioles, Yankees. Yankees still playing for something. Luis Hill going to be in play. Schlittler looked really good yesterday. Hill's strikeouts haven't been there. Walks have been up. That's a big worry. But when things come together, we get starts like he just recently had against Boston. So I'm interested just because his upside's there, and he has pitched much better at home. Kyle Bradish on the other side has looked phenomenal since his return from Tommy John. I don't know what they're going to do. You know, last start they let him go with the season high pitch count. Maybe he throws 80 to 90 pitches again. So he's certainly viable because he's the type of guy that has plenty of upside. But I'm not excited to use him on the last day of the season. Minnesota, Philadelphia. I don't expect Christopher Sanchez to be long for this game. 3-4 innings maybe. You know, they do get the week off before Saturday's game 1. So they want to keep him sharp, but they obviously don't want to put him at too much risk. Woods Richardson has had some decent starts recently. Might be viable. Really depends on what we see from that Philadelphia starting lineup. I don't really want to use Woods Richardson, but if that lineup is weak enough, I'll definitely be interested in that scenario. McCade Brown was dominant against Seattle for some ungodly reason. I don't see that happening, even though it's a good ballpark to pitch in. The other side, Logan Webb. The Giants let Verlander go deep enough last night. I don't think they're going to completely restrict Logan Webb. Will he throw 100 pitches? I'm not so sure about that, but 90 pitches, 5 to 6 innings, maybe 7. I think it's more 5 to 6. Big time strikeout matchup, so I am very interested in Logan Webb just because I don't think they're going to pull him after 2-3 innings. I do think it's going to be, a 5-inning start for him, but I could be wrong. Tampa Bay, Toronto. The game matters to Toronto, so Kevin Gausman going out there. Going to go out there and try to get the W. Has struggled a bit against Tampa Bay this season, but I like the upside for Gausman. I want to use him. Maybe he only goes 5 innings to somewhat limit him, and they go an inning at a time for a reliever. Because even if they were to lose the division, they get a day of rest. But they are in the driver's seat. The win and they're in. The Yankees need them to lose. So on the other side, Ian Seymour has flashed some upside. I just don't necessarily want to use him against Toronto. He was pretty good against them. And I guess Toronto's bats have kind of quieted down. He's been really good on the road. But, how many pitches are we going to see out of him? I'm not entirely sure. Probably a guy that you want to sprinkle in. Houston and the Angels, zero interest in either pitcher. McCullers isn't going to throw a regular start. Houston was eliminated last night. Eldigiri just hasn't been good. I know Houston probably could mail it in a little bit, so maybe, but he's not going to throw 90-some pitches, I don't believe, again. So, pretty easy spot for me to pass on. Texas-Cleveland, a game that matters for Cleveland, like I did mention. Patrick Corbin could be in play. I just don't think I'm going to get there. Only 365 pitches last time out. Probably going to throw, 50, 60 again and turn it over to the bullpen. I just don't really see any upside or importance for them to roll with them. Logan Allen was dominant last time out. Super important spot for Cleveland to pick up the W, secure the division title. And I don't think he's going to play into round one consideration. So I do think he's going to be a normal starter. So it makes a lot of sense to me to be heavier on Logan Allen. Arizona, San Diego. Arizona saw some guys rest. I just don't think Fott's going to throw very deep in the game. He could. It does matter to him personally, but not the team. So he certainly could throw 5 innings. He's just not somebody I'm going to prioritize. Like, I wouldn't talk you out of it. On the other side, JP Sears. I just don't think he's going to do much. He's not going to be in their postseason rotation, so maybe they just let him throw. But I'm just not overly excited to play JP Sears. Dodgers, Mariners, Kershaw getting a start, but I have a feeling he's going to be more of a bullpen guy in the postseason. But they are letting him get a start. He did throw an inning in relief recently. I just don't think I'm going to go there. They're just not going to let him go 5-6 innings at this point. Bryce Miller on the other side probably doesn't go, 80, 90 pitches. Did spend some time on the IL this season, so I could see them going 3-4 innings, just keeping him sharp and turning it over to the bullpen. Now, they don't want to deteriorate their bullpen a whole lot, but they do get, 5 days off. So, but I just don't think Bryce Miller's going 5+ innings in this spot. Milwaukee, Freddie Peralta, probably just going to be a stay sharp start, 2, 3, 4 innings. That's really all I could, Milwaukee has 0 reasons they're in the number 1 seed in the National League. They need Peralta to be ready to go next Saturday. Cincinnati, Brady Singer. Important spot for Cincinnati. Win, and they are in with the tiebreaker over the Mets. Tough matchup against the Brewers. But the game means something, so I will want to use a little bit of Brady Singer in that event. Interested to see what kind of lineup the Brewers send out there. I would expect that Yelich and Contreras probably not in the lineup. Maybe we don't see Churio since he did spend some time on the IL as well. But I think Singer's definitely got to be in play. Cabrera, they did let Yuri Perez go yesterday, so I would guess that Edward Cabrera is going to be throwing, 70, 80 pitches again. Maybe 90. I doubt he gets to 90. Important game for the Mets. Guys on the other side like Cabrera probably want to be the spoiler. They can say that they ended the Mets season, especially because, the Mets payroll and all the talk. Cabrera can play spoiler, so maybe he steps up. Since they did let Yuri Perez, be dominant yesterday, I think Cabrera's got a 5-inning, maybe a 6-inning performance in him. Sean Manaea getting started on the other side. It matters a lot, but there's going to be a short leash. And he's not very lengthened out right now. They've been having him piggyback a little bit. I just don't think I can use Sean Manaea. Pitt, Atlanta. I will be using Chris Sale a bit because he's going to follow Morton, who's retiring. Sale then doesn't have to worry about going 5 or 6 innings. He can go 4 innings, strike out a bunch of guys, and still get the win. That's a great spot for Chris Sale. So definitely somebody I want to use. I'm just not interested in Oviedo. St. Louis, Chicago. Rivalry game for St. Louis, but they're going with an opener for Payante. And the Cubs locked into their spot. Assad getting the start, but not going to see much out of them. No interest in pitching in this game. But there we have it. There's the last regular season video of 2025. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc., I will drop a link in the description below. You can use promo code RAZ, that's R-A-Z, for 10% off monthly. And as always, best of luck, everybody.